Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and Ranking Member Franken, members of the committee. It's an honor to be here with you. I want to start by talking about a real person, because behind every regulation or proposed regulation is a real person. Merlin Toffel was a Navy veteran and an electrician. He did everything right. He and his wife, Elaine, raised 4 kids in suburban Chicago. They built a solid middle-class life. They saved their money. They built up an impressive portfolio with Vanguard. And when Merlin was stricken with Alzheimer's and could no longer manage their finances, Elaine made an appointment at the local retail bank. They'd used this bank for years. They trusted them. The bank's investment broker told her to liquidate the Vanguard portfolio and sold them a very complex variable annuity to the tune of $650,000. Merlin was something like 75 or 78 years old at the time of the sale of this variable annuity. Elaine trusted this advice. She thought it was in their best interest. The annual fee on that variable annuity, the annual fee was $26,000. And if the Toffels needed to access the money right away, a 7% surrender charge would cost them more than $45,000. In the end, the broker's conflicted advice cost a hard-working family more than $50,000. This story is tragic but not unique. It's also not illegal because someone concluded that the advice was suitable. Conservative estimates by the Council of Economic Advisors place the cost of conflicted advice at more than $17 billion annually. ERISA is over 4 decades old. In my parents' generation, when you retired, you got a pension, a pen, a party. And that pension was a defined benefit pension. Today we have an $11 trillion market of defined contributions, of 401ks and IRAs, $11 trillion. Times have changed. Consumers now have to make critical decisions about how to invest these funds that they have so hard earned. And you know what? 3 of the most important decisions that people now make are medical, legal, and financial. When you go to a doctor or a lawyer, they have a medical and legal obligation to put your best interests first. The Labor Department's conflict of interest rulemaking is about making sure that the same set of rules, best interest of the consumer, apply to when you are getting help in retirement. Most people assume, actually, that the standard already exists. And that is indeed the case for many advisors, like the one my wife and I use, who is a fiduciary, and he does so, and he puts our best interests first. But the majority who operate under this commitment, who operate in this space, are under no such commitment, although in many cases their marketing actually suggests that they are. And it's important to make one thing clear, and Senator Franken alluded to this. While there are undeniably some bad apples, this is not a case about bad people doing bad things. The majority of folks in this space are trying to do the right thing every day. The nub of the problem is good people who are operating within a structurally flawed system, a market that sees personal financial interests of the advisor and the firm all too frequently misaligned from the best interests of the customer. The result is what we saw happen to the Toffels. So our goal in this proposed rulemaking is straightforward: to align the best interest of the customer with those of the advisor and the firm. And this proposed rule has been the product of a significant amount of outreach to a wide array of stakeholders. I appreciate the support we've gotten from so many in the industry. People like Brian Moynihan, the CEO of Bank of America, who said, "We believe that doing what is in the best interest for our customers is absolutely the right thing to do." Jack Bogle, the founder of Vanguard, very strong supporter of this rule. We'll hear from a witness shortly who plays in this space every day as a fiduciary, working with small investors, who tells you when you put your customers' interests first, it's great for your customers and it's great for business in addition. And I also invite you to look at the transcript of a recent hearing we had in the House, because there's a really interesting thing happening right now. The conversation is shifting from whether to have a best interest standard to ensuring that a best interest standard can be effectively implemented. I'm heartened by that shift. And you know what? We welcome any and all suggestions on how to improve the proposed rule to ensure that it can be effectively implemented. We've heard and understand concerns that have been raised about issues such as point-of-sale disclosure, data retention, and the mechanics of implementing the best interest standard. And as long as we don't lose sight of our North Star, an enforceable best interest commitment, we are very flexible on the question of how to get this work done. This is about providing guardrails, not straitjackets. And it's important to remember as we go through this rulemaking that a substantial subset of the advisors already operate under a fiduciary model. They serve a wide array of customers, including small businesses, small investors, and they do it well. So we know that it can be done because it is already being done by so many businesses. A number of folks have raised concerns that the proposed rule will shut out the small saver from investment advice. Entities such as the Consumer Federation of America, entities such as AARP, they take a backseat to no one and they're concerned about small investors, and they strongly support this rule. And we've consulted with several profitable firms whose business model is all about working with the little guy. And there was an investment firm out in Palo Alto called Wealthfront. They cite their success as, quote, living proof that not only is it possible to provide fiduciary service at low cost to small investors nationwide, but the market greatly rewards this effort. And when I talk to firms like this and tell them about the argument on the other side that our rulemaking will make it impossible to serve the small saver, the most frequent advice I get is give them my phone number. Give them my email, because you know what? I'll take their business any day of the week. I know that the industry can adapt to serve this $11 trillion market, and I'm confident that we can work with them. We've reached out, in addition to small savers, to small businesses who want to ensure that their employees have access to retirement plans so that they can recruit the best and the brightest. Our proposed rule has a number of safeguards and safety valves so that they can access retirement plan options for their employees. As Carrie Conklin, a small business owner from New Jersey, told us, I am all for this proposal. I don't have a big firm with our own in-house financial management team that can advise me. I want the financial advisors I work with to be required to represent my interests. And so that's precisely what we're trying to do. Build a big table, invite everyone up. I believe that one of the most important things you can do when you're doing rulemaking is build a big table, listen, and have a healthy dose of humility. And so that has been our approach. Humility, good faith, an open mind, and a keen ear. We know our destination, an enforceable best interest standard. It's in the line of Ronald Reagan. Trust but verify. Your marketing material says that you look out for your customer's best interest. This standard is memorializing what is in the marketing materials. We're open to different routes to getting to that enforceable best interest standard, and we look forward to continuing to hear from as many voices as possible. We've extended the comment period. We're convening 3 days of public hearing next month, and then we'll reopen comment after we publish the transcript of those hearings. We look forward to the engagement, and we have gotten so much good feedback from so many businesses who have come in with a get-to-yes attitude. And they have challenges, they have questions, they have concerns, but they have a get-to-yes attitude because they recognize, like Jack Bogle said, that when you put your customers first, it's great for your customer and it is indeed great for business. This is about middle-class security. And one of the pillars of middle-class security is retirement security. And I look forward to working with this committee and with all the stakeholders to continue the process of producing a rule that will work for American savers and will work for American business and will work for all stakeholders. So, Mr. Chairman, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Secretary Perez. We appreciate your attendance and your service to the country.
To learn more, visit rebalanceira.com.